Today we're going to look at Magic the Gathering cards that let you play with your opponent's cards. Why build your own deck when you can just play your opponent's deck? I'm going to start off with Rexiel the Risen Deep. It's a black, blue, 3 generic 5/8 Kraken. I have to admit, this is a pretty ugly looking Kraken. I don't even know if this is more alien than Kraken in my opinion. Island Walk, Swamp Walk, 5/8 creature. Big bud on that Kraken. Whenever Rexiel the Risen Deep deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into a graveyard this turn, exile it instead. Sort of a little bit of a reverse Snapcaster Mage here, the inverted Snapcaster Mage. You just play your opponent's instants and sorceries, but play it for free. I guess it's not too hard. Who doesn't have a swamp or island these days? Those damn Naya players. Also, Mind's Dilation. This is a wild enchantment for 7 mana. Whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. That is completely wild. So, you play spells, you're rolling the dice that I get to play whatever is on top of that library. Is it until end of turn? If it's an online card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. I guess it's just exiled forever. I get to play it whenever. You got some giant creature there. It's coming around when it comes back to my turn. Alright, we got... what does Toads have? Mindslaver. The artifact for 6 mana. This is a legendary artifact. I didn't take notice of that. Alright, the 4 mana tap sacrifice Mindslaver. You control target player during that player's next turn. You see all cards that player could see and make all decisions for the player. I think in the past you were also able to look at their sideboard. For anyone who plays sideboarded Magic the Gathering. It's like it was a huge information boost. It's a helm that leaves the head at its most vulnerable. Just make sure you... I've been Mindslavered so many times as a Merfolk player, they could do nothing. Absolutely not. Like, what are you gonna do? Make me attack? And also, very often I would have Island Walk, so, like, even if they make me attack, it's not like they could block and make any, like, beneficial attacks for them and against me, so. Bring on the Mindslavers, I say. More Mindslavers. There are not enough Mindslavers out here. Alright, we got Blake with Captain N. Who the hell is this? Captain Anthgard. Okay, do I have to be more expensive? I have to be Captain Gathrod. Very awkward name. Alright, we got black, blue, 3 generic, 3/6 horror pirate. Horror! Hey, it's that guy from the Disney movie, Pirates of the Caribbean. The squiddy guy. See, Wizards of the Coast, they rip off everything. They just make a parody of every intellectual property out there. And now they're just taking intellectual properties at this point. Alright, legendary creature, horror pirate. Horrors you control have menace. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the library this turn. Put it onto the battlefield under your control. Insane! It's only for 5 mana. Whenever a horror, and you could have many horrors on the battlefield, you just scoop them up and the rich get richer. And then you have to make all those other things horrors. Davy Jones! That's what I was thinking of. Good old Davy. Who's a fan of Davy Jones out there? I'm a fan of eating squid, personally. You little squiddies. I'm sort of allergic to shellfish, so squid is like the only fish that I can, or like fishy thing, seafood that I could eat that doesn't make me sick. Alright, what do we all... We have, Damn! With the Sen triplets. Doesn't everyone love playing their opponent's cards? Why build a deck to play your own cards? We could just build a deck to play your opponent's cards. 5... Ooh, Esper and 2 generic for a 3/3 human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't cast spells or activate abilities and plays with their hand revealed. You may play lands and cast spells from that player's hand this turn. But where do the lands go? Do they come into play under your control or under your opponent's control, but you're using their lands to play the spells? You may play lands and cast spell. I guess you get the land. So you take, it's even worse. You take, not only taking their spells, you're taking them lands away. What, they can do nothing? At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. Well, they're not going to play a land anyway. It's your turn anyhow. So whatever. Oh, we're the Shellfish Allergies Unite. Yeah, we're not alone out there. I remember the last time I went to Red Lobster, it was awful. You know, it took a long time to realize I was allergic to shellfish. Why do I keep getting diarrhea over and over again? And I just stopped eating the shellfish. Alright, what do we got? We have, oh my god, you people are very monkey? Oh, Ragavan. I was wondering, you know what? For a second, I thought this whole day was just going to be like a Dimir day. Dimir collards all around. Yeah, Ragavan, I forgot. This card, you deal damage with Ragavan, you exile the top card of their library, and until end of turn, you may cast that card. It really sucks if you're a red or blue player, because generally speaking, well, maybe not every Ragavan deck, but a lot of Ragavan decks, the blue is part of a blue deck of some sort, so they play your blue spells quite easily instead of sacrificing the treasure tokens. This guy does like so much. Man, this is like the barometer now for 1-drops, and it can still get more powerful from there. What a world this has become. Black Lance Geo. Did I use this one right? Use this one. Talent of the Telepath. Blue 2 generic sorcery. Target opponent reveals the top 7 cards of his or her library. You may cast an instant or sorcery card from among them without paying its mana cost. Then that player puts the rest into his or her library. Spell Mastery. If there are 2 or more instant and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, you may cast up to 2 revealed instant and sorcery cards instead of 1. Who do you target? What if their deck is just loaded with... What are the best instants and sorceries to get out of people? I don't know, you take somebody's bribery or something, but then you might as well play your own bribery. Imagine you play a card to play your opponent's spells, and then the spell that you take is just used to take someone else's spell. It's like Inception. We must go deeper. Deeper and deeper. Xavier, Villainous Wealth. This is actually the card that inspired today's show. If yes, how about no, we didn't do Villainous Wealth. So this card got cast against me, and it was just brutal. So it's for Sultai and X, and if X is like 8, it's disgusting. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. And I'm like, what? So very late in a Commander game, this is a huge game swinger. You could be completely lost and now just completely winning by just ripping a bunch of bombs off of the top of one player's library. You just be like, which one of you have them bombs to equalize this game? I got a lot of mana and I want to spend it. Gotta spend that villainous wealth around here by stealing your stuff. Everyone likes money value. Yeah, who doesn't like money value? Good stuff. Okay, well, we did Talent of the Telepath. King Ginger. My pet card, Agent of Treachery. Oh, God. Unban Agent of Treachery in what is it, Historic? Unjustly banned in Historic, in my opinion. Unjustly banned. Free it up. Actually very pissed the day that they banned Agent of Treachery in Historic, because they didn't ban Winota that day. Blue 5 generic for a tooth. This has got to be the most expensive creature outside of, like, I don't know, that blue 1/1 wizard with morph. Like, expensive creature for such small power and toughness. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target permanent. And that's why it's got, like, it's a 2/3 creature, because it's being backed up by just stealing stuff from someone else. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 3 or more permanents you don't own, draw 3 cards. What? Whoops. That's beyond insane. I didn't really read that part of this card. So anyone who is playing any of these steal your opponent's cards decks, you want this ability. You want Agent of Treachery, because basically this thing just turns into Ancestral Recall every turn. And it's at your end step. You get like Agent of Treachery, Villainous Wealth, and then at end of turn just draw another 3 cards. Beyond busted, in my opinion. Scrambleverse. Scramble it up. What is this? Is that 8 mana sorcery. For each non-land permanent, choose a player at random. Oh, God. Why? Why do you players exist? Then each player gains control of each permanent for which he or she was chosen. Untap those permanents. Yeah, that's a way of playing your opponent's cards. So I'll mix it up. Let's roll the dice. No, for each non... Yeah, you have to choose a player at random. Also, like, this card sucks to resolve. Alright, for every single... So you need, like, a 4-sided die, which do exist. Okay, so they do exist. Yeah, you have to... You can also be a player chosen at random. You have to roll a dice for every single one. And then everyone has to do that? They should have this get exiled so it can't be, like, replayed. This basically takes up an extra 10 minutes of the game just to have this resolve. Alright, what do we have on the free side? Alright, David says a new one. Grima. Saruman's Footman. Yeah, don't underestimate the Footman. Where was this guy in the lore? Okay, black, blue, 2 generic for a 1/4 human advisor. Oh, was this the guy that was like whispering in the king's ear? They're traitors. I don't remember what he said. You have no power. I just remember the meme. You have no power here. Okay, human advisor. Grima, Saruman's Footman, can't be blocked. When Grima deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top card of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then that player puts the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of their library in a random order. Okay, what do we have next for super chats? You people are very passionate about this show. Oh, King Ginger. Oh, again, King Ginger. Rashmi, and Ragavan. No, we're gonna go with Rashmi. We did Ragavan already. Rashmi. Oh, this is. I thought these were 2 separate cards. So Ragavan's still stealing stuff. Okay, we have red, blue, green, 1 generic. Isn't it supposed to be the other... Who's that other person with Ragavan who originally made the Ragavan token? Shouldn't they be a pair? I can't remember her name, though. There's some pirate or something. Anyway, okay, so Ragavan betrayed her, it went to another person. We have a 2/4 legendary elf monkey. Whenever you cast your first spell during each of your turns, exile the top card of target opponent's library and create a treasure token. Then you can cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost if it's a spell with mana value less than the number of artifacts you control. That's fair! That's absolutely fair. If you don't cast it this way, you may cast it this... If you don't cast it this way, you may cast it this turn. I think it's fair. You may cast that card without paying its mana... Oh, you can only pay... You can still cast it for whatever mana, but you can play it for free. Okay, maybe it's still busted. Whatever. There's no way of making Ragavan fair around here. Who would win, Ragavan or Emrakul? Probably Ragavan, because it'd kill Emrakul before they got the mana out to cast her. Yeah, Kari Zev is what I was thinking of. Kari Zev made the... It should have been Kari Zev and Ragavan. I thought that was the peanut butter and jelly around here. Alright, let's get a free one around here. What do we got? Brandon Hall. Turgrid. Of course. God of Fright. Turgrid. 5 mana. God. 4/5 menace. Whenever an opponent sacks a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Oh, you thought it was your thing, huh? No, now it's my thing. Discard fans unite. Discard is now actually broken. Alright, moving on. We've got Hamid. Athreos. Shrouded Veil. I didn't know Athreos had any sort of, like, play your opponent's card stuff. Or we have a Orzhov, 4 generic, 4/7, God, indestructible. As long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies, or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Alright, so slowly you start marking people. You know, you're going to be my creature in the future. All I have to do is blow you up. Or put you into exile. Or annihilate the board. Or one way or another. Alright, let's get through some super chats, because I have 100 billion of them. You know, I tried to eliminate the $2 super chat, but I can't. You people are abusing the system with them $2 super chats, but I still appreciate it. All right, we have treachery. Reserve list. You know what? I can never make this card work. As stupid as that sounds. It's like a free take a creature, but for some reason every single time I play it's like garbage. Blue, 3 generic. Whenever treachery comes into play, untap up to 5 lands. You control enchanted creatures. Basically, you steal the creature for free. This is free real estate around here. Gotta make use of the lands, though. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with this card. It doesn't even look like a card that would go wrong, but anyway, it don't work for me. Zach says, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, you did Agent of Treachery. Okay, Zach. I use Mass Manipulation coupled with Hinata. I don't know who Hinata is. Blue, XX sorcery. Gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. Those who cross the Dimir find enemies everywhere they turn. You need a lot of mana. But then it's all yours. The world's your oyster. Okay, let's go back to the freebie section. Vitor, you find some prisoners. That sounds like a D&D card. Oh, what a surprise. It is. A red 1 generic instant. Choose one. Break their chains. Destroy target artifact. Interrogate them. Exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. Choose one of them. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. That's so weird. It's like I don't understand the flavor of this. What does that interrogating them have anything to do with playing their cards? I understand the break their chains part. That makes sense. Whatever. What is Christopher B up to? Let's look up Reiterate. Never heard of that one. It be red. Red 1 generic. Instant with buyback of 3. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. That is one way of playing your opponent's cards. You copy them and effectively have your own copy. Don't worry. Don't be so offended I'm copying you, bro. Don't be offended. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery around here. Blake Mamba. Mob Rule. Another red card. Red 4 generic sorcery. Choose one. Gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater. They gain haste until end of turn. Untap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. Or gain control of all creatures with power 3 or less. Until end of turn. Untap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. Get your sack outlets ready. So you take their cards and you basically throw them into the dumpster. It's the only way you really make these cards really, really good. Just throw them all to the... Sacrifice them to the gods. Chan Fred, Eternal Domination. Whoa. 10 mana. Sorcery. Search target opponent's library for an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card. Put that card into play under your control. Then that player shuffles his or her library. Epic! Oh my god, that's a wild card. Hold on. For the rest of the game, you can't play spells, but at the beginning of each upkeep, basically you copy the spell. This card is ridiculous. But you only get to play one spell a turn, basically, for the rest of the game. For the rest of the game, you can't play spells at the beginning of your upkeeps. At the beginning of each of your upkeeps. Can you get more upkeeps? We gotta double our upkeeps to double the power of Eternal Domination. Let's go with Mr. Deadhead's Chaos Wand. It be Chaos. 3 generic artifact. Pay 4 tap. Target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that... What if they don't have one? Okay, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then put the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of that library in a random order. I guess what would happen if you don't have one, it just runs through the entire deck. All right, there's nothing. You get nothing. That's how you undermine this card. Chaos Wand. I have one friend who does not play Sol Ring in their deck, in any of their decks. And so every single time I'm searching their deck for like an artifact to put into play under my control, I basically brick because there are no artifacts to take. There's nothing good. Anyway, not the case with Chaos One. There'll always be something. There'll always be something. All right, next super chat we got. Well, I'm gonna go mass. Oh, did we do mass manipulation? Did Balder get sniped? Oh, we did. Sorry, you have another one, Balder. I have another super chat. All right, thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate how much you love the mass manipulation. I gotta get through some of these. Okay, hold on. We got King Ginger said Itali. Primal Conqueror. Does this steal cards from your opponent? Trample. When Itali Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. All right! True story. Blink this card and it's gonna be a problem. And of course you can transform this thing for 1,000,000 mana, enter a giant indestructible creature with that gives poison counters. Brutal. I'm gonna look out for you. Gonna look out for you, Balder. Blake Mamba, stolen strategy. Could be stolen. Okay, red for generic enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among those exiled cards. You may spend mana as though it were any color to cast those spells. Beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. All of them! Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among those, but you have to pay. So that's the difference. So you have good card selection, but you have to pay for it. Okay, hold on. Let's. Oh my god, there's so many super chats today. Rated Lex. Word of command. By the way, my 9-year-old says hi. Hello, 9-year-old. Hello, Rated Lex's 9-year-old. Oh, the eyes. This is the black instant. Look at target opponent's hand and choose a card from it. You control that player until Word of Command finishes resolving. The player plays that card if able. While doing so, the player can activate mana abilities only if they're from lands he or she controls, and only if mana they produce is spent to activate other mana abilities of lands he or she controls, and or play that card. If the chosen card is cast as a spell, you control the player while that spell is resolving. This is just... I don't know what this card does. I don't know how this card exactly works. It sounds like you can play cards as they're resolving, but it's a really bizarre one. It's the most obscure way to play someone else's card. Let's get a random one. Let's get a random freebie. Who have I not get? Let's go Valerio! Emrakul, the Promised End. Yeah, the end of Emrakul, because we all know how that story ended. Emrakul got encased in the moon. 13 generic mana for a 13/13 Eldrazi. Costs 1 less to cast, though, for each card type among all cards in your graveyard. But the deal is, when you cast Emrakul, you gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. So basically, you get an extra turn. I think that's how it would be better worded. When the turn ends, you get an extra turn, but you control your opponent, their draw step, and whatever. Flying Trample protection from instants. What happened to protection from colored spells? What happened to that? How do you lose that? Or is it because you're on Innistrad? You lost that ability. So bizarre. Okay, we got next. Was it payday or something today? Okay, we got Trip. Will you count a redirect spell? Absolutely. Bolt Bend. I love redirect spells. Red 3 generic instant. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. The only thing that sucks about these cards in Commander, there's not that many cards that target a single player. I mean, there are, but like it's not super common. it's just more common that you have like multiple targets, or you're gonna play spells that affect everybody so they don't have a single target. So it's harder to use these cards. Because I love Misdirection. This is my baby. This is one of my... No, I want the original Misdirection. There we go. It's the same thing. You can pitch it for free, but it's just so hard to ever find a target in the game that I'd actually want to spend 2 cards on. I guess maybe cards like Bolt Bend are a little bit better because it's just a 1-for-1, whereas Misdirection I'm usually 2-for-1ing myself, which is not lovely. Not a huge fan of that. Okay, we got next. I gotta get them through them super chats, because if I don't, this show is just gonna end on me going through all the super chats. Damn it! Did we do Blake Mamba? Grave Betrayal. I can tell some of you are very passionate about this subject. Black 5 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature you don't control dies, returns to the battlefield under your control with an additional +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other card types. Great for the zombie decks. They all be zombie now. Oh, of course, Balder loves the Soren Markov. The -7. All right, for 6 mana, -7. You control target player during that player's next turn. It's better than control. What's better than controlling your opponent's cards or playing their cards? Just playing their entire deck from the front seat of their seat. I don't know. It's like in Commander, you get up, tell your opponent, okay, get up. I'm taking your chair. I'm taking control of everything. I can take it from here. All right, let's take something from the crowd here. AK-47. Did we do Gonti? Maybe we didn't do Gonti. Gonti, Lord of Luxury. With Death Touch. Enters the battlefield. Look at the top 4 cards of target opponent's library. Exile one of them face down. Put the rest on the bottom of that library in a random order. You may look at and cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. And you may spend mana, though, or mana of any type, to cast that spell. Legendary card. So that you can just keep recasting that, replaying your opponent's stuff over and over again. Alright, more super chats. Oh my god. There's just so many super chats. Balder. Okay, great. Dothy Voidwalker. Oh yeah. You know what? Truth be told, I don't see the Dothy Voidwalker people playing this card all that much. Like, oh, sorry, no, they play the card, but they play it for the other abilities. It's a black 3/2 Leyline of the Void, with basically unblockable because it has Shadow. But it does have the ability, tap, sacrifice Dothy Voidwalker, choose an exiled card an opponent owns with a Void counter on it, because whenever a player plays a spell, if a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you exile it with a Void counter, and then you can play any of those cards with a Void counter without paying its mana cost. But that effect I don't see being played nearly as often, because they don't really want, they don't want to throw away their 3/2 beautiful creature. All right, we're gonna look at way more of these cards that are wild. Well, you want to buy them cards that steal your opponent's cards? Not technically, just, in the game. Don't be stealing people's cards. Wizards of the Coast will ban you on the spot. You know how you get banned for life? You have some physical alteration with somebody, or you steal cards. That'll get you banned for life. Also, you cheat like 5 times in a tournament. That will also get you banned for life. But you can get some cards that steal other people's cards when you buy at FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week. Save 15% off all Mirrodin block singles. Was there Mindslaver in that block? We have Chromox, Trinisphere, Chalice of the Void, Krarkland Ironworks. I don't know. Probably. It was a big artifact at the time. And when you buy at Fusion Gaming Online, don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu. It saves you 5% off, and also it supports the channel. Lets them know I sent you. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Ability to play any of these whatever. You want to steal people's cards? You want to play Dothy Voidwalker? You don't want to buy Dothy Voidwalker, though? You rent it from Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_B3R. All right, back to card stealing land. Okay, what do we have for the free group here? Oh, that's a good one. Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter. Tybalt! Tybalt. Am I spelling something wrong? Okay, Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter. 7 mana for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. Enters the battlefield. You get an emblem with you may play cards exiled with Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. +2, exile the top card of each player's library. That includes yours. So -3, exile target artifact or creature, and you can play all these exiled cards. And -8, exile all cards from all graveyards, and you get 3 mana. Tybalt's like the epitome of basically playing other people's stuff. People laughed at Tybalt, and they learned how to steal things. This is the real thief of the multiverse. All right, more super chats. Did we do Grave Betrayal? We did. All right, we did Grave Betrayal. No, we didn't do Rise of the Dark Realms. There we go. Okay, I'm back on track here. Set 9 mana for a sorcery. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. I think that card's insane. That's definitely a turnaround card. You think you're dead? Well, then you Rise of the Dark Realms and it's like, well, that turned around really quickly. You didn't need the 9 mana, but I mean, this is, if you have the 9 mana to spend, probably you're going to get like a really good effect out of this card. Yo, little Ted. Ashiok, Sculptor of Fears. Not the Mind Sculptor, the Sculptor of Fears. All right, black, blue, 4 generic for 4 loyalty Ashiok, +2, draw a card. Each player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. -5, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And then -11, gain control of all creatures target opponent controls. This card's insane! It's basic, like all the abilities enable it to steal stuff. Also, insane art, actually. I think this is like the best art of Ashiok. I think all Magic art should look like this, where everything is really clear in frame, great pose. That's a 10 out of 10 art for me. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. This is just unbelievable. Disgusting, really. All right, what do we, did I do one? Did I get one from Bulky today? Let's get Herald of Leshrac. We did Itali, Alex. We did Itali already. Was it Herald of Leshrac? There's a lot of Heralds around there. Okay, hold on. I'm an idiot. Leshrac. There we go. 7 mana, 2/4 Avatar with flying. Cumulative upkeep. Gain control of a land you don't control. That is a cumulative upkeep I want. Herald of Leshrac gets +1/+1 for each land you control but don't own. When Herald of Leshrac leaves play, each player gains control of each land he or she owns that you control. Yeah, but they're going to be siphoned off of all their mana before that happens. And it's cumulative, so you take 1, then you take 2, then you take 3, and you take 4, you take 5. You're going to steal all their land. This is like the slow squeezing Armageddon that you're going to have on your opponents. Monster CC, a new one, Lidless Gaze. Red, black, 2 generic sorcery. Exile the top card of each player's library until end of turn. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Mana of any type that, and mana of any type can be spent to cast them. You get to flash it back. Exile the top card. So you exile them cards, you get to play them spells. You get to do it all the way around. I think this card's hard to cast, isn't it? Until end of turn, you may play those cards, and mana of any type can be... But you have to pay for it. You already spent 4 mana into this card. And it's only until end of turn. This thing's a rare? It looks terrible to me. This card looks like a huge dud. Whatever. I think it's bad. It fits the show, so don't get me wrong. I appreciate it, but I don't know anyone who would play that card. All right, we got Zach with the Mind Slaver. That was mentioned a million years ago. But we're going to look at it again because you said so. Mindslaver, 6 mana, legendary artifact. Pay 4, sack it. You control their turn. Now, okay, so I will add, there are great ways of looping the Mindslaver because of cards like, oh, what's that land? Academy Ruins. So if you, there's too many academies. Academy Ruins. Pay a blue 1 generic, put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library, and you get to perpetually play your opponent's deck. I mean, you know, it's a little bit, it sort of sucks, because if you get this loop going, you basically won the game, not because you're controlling your opponent, but because your opponent just can't do anything anymore. Now, you do need a lot of mana for this. You need 10 mana for your Mindslaver. You need an additional, like, whoops, you need an additional, like, 2 mana plus the Academy Ruins to make this go on for forever, but it can be done. It can be done. All right, next super chat. We've got Trip. Ornate Kanzashi. Cute cat, by the way. Love it. 10 out of 10 cat. The Ornate Kanzashi. For 5 mana, artifact, pay 2, tap. Target opponent removes the top card of his or her library from the game. You may play that card this turn. This is a very interesting artifact because you could perpetually use this over and over and over again. Every single turn you can play the Ornate of Kanzashi. I guess the problem is, are you going to hit anything? Oh no, you can just play the card. So you can like take their land away. I like this card. It's a repeatable source of stealing your opponent's stuff. Over and over and over again. Next we got Zanzi. Spawn Broker. It's how I gave Braw's Bombshell away. Okay, let's go look up the Spawn Broker. Blue 2 generic 1/1 human wizard. When it comes into play, you may exchange control of target creature you control and target creature with power less than or equal to that creature's power an opponent controls. You may exchange control of target creature you control and target creature with power less than or equal to that creature's power an opponent controls. So basically, you can exchange your big, stupid, colossal Dreadmaws for something much more useful that is not a vanilla creature, is what you're telling me. Interesting card. It's like the budget version of Gilded Drake. Really budget. Really, really budget. Doesn't get any more budget than that. Who's a Gilded Drake fan? Probably nobody, because Gilded Drake is like $1 billion now. Alright, Blake Mamba's question. Does Clone Legion count? Probably. A lot of ways we can go around here. 9 mana, sorcery. For each creature target player controls, create a token that's a copy of that creature. No, I'm not gonna give you that one. That way, making tokens of copies, that's for a token show. It's close. It's gonna make you feel like you're playing with their cards, but you're not playing with their cards. Because when you play with their cards, they don't got their card anymore. When you have Clone Legion, they still got their card. They got their card, you just have a copy of their card, that's all. So that disqualified. Elramond! Xanathar. What the hell is this guy? It's the ugly orb guy from Doom. Except, I don't know, this is the friendlier version. Alright, this is, black, the Keiko Demon. Black, blue, 4 generic, 5/6, Beholder. What the hell creature type is that? At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent until end of turn. That player can't cast spells. You may look at the top card of their library anytime, and you may play the top card of their library, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast. You may cast them any way you want. Use whatever mana. So you choose target opponent until end of turn. That player can't cast spells. It's another one of these, like, you can't cast spells, and I get to play your stuff types of cards. It's from D&D. I can tell based on the thing here. Does D&D and Doom have any, like... are they related in any way? The Beholders? Very bizarre creature type. D&D creature type, classic D&D monster. Looks disgusting. Any legs, or is it a flying orb? Just like in Doom. It's the only way I can reason this stupid thing. Next up, we've got Trip. Eye of the Storm. Kind of. In all honesty, though, it's pure chaos and the game turns into a headache unless you're a Storm/Suspend junkie. Alright, we got blue 5 generic enchantment. Whenever a player plays an instant or sorcery spell, remove it from the game. Then that player copies each instant or sorcery spell card removed from the game with Eye of the Storm. For each copy, the player may play the copy without paying their mana cost. That's more of a copy spell to me. And then also everyone gets to copy everybody else's spell. It's an interesting card though. It is I guess it's an awkward way of playing other people's cards. It's closer than the Token Maker. I'll give you that. It's closer than the Token Maker card. Yeah, but you sort of knew it already. You said it's kind of on topic. All right, what do you guys have here in the freebie section? Okay, hold on. We have a fun fact from Zanzi. Fun fact: beholders reproduce by dreaming others ones into existence. That is bizarre. This is a weirder and weirder creature type than I've ever imagined. Scott the Dark Knight, D. Hada, Binder of Wills. What the hell does this thing do? Alright, so up to +2. Up to 1 target legendary creature gains vigilance and a bunch of other stuff. -3, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put any number of legendary cards from among them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Create treasures. -11, gain control of all non-land permanents until end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. I'm gonna give my lands, oh sorry. You gain control of all non-land permanents. So I'm gonna give my enchantments haste. It's good stuff, and this thing can be your commander. Did anyone say shared fate yet? You have. Alright, shared fate. 5 mana. Enchantment. If a player would draw a card, that player removes the top card of an opponent's library from the game from the game face down instead. Each player may look at and play cards he or she removed from the game with shared fate as though they were in his or her hand. So basically you can steal your opponent's cards. They steal your cards. It's a little bit of a sharesies thing. I share yours, you share mine. Sharon with the Cure of Hospitality. Oh, sorry, the Curse. Curse and Cure. Those are 2 words so close, but so far away from each other. Okay, for a red 2 generic enchantment or a curse, enchant player, creatures attacking enchanted player have trample. That sucks. And whenever a creature deals combat damage to enchanted player, that player exiles the top card of their library. Until end of turn, that creature's controller may play that card, and they may spend mana, though it were mana of any color, to cast that spell. They need to make a keyword for this, where like you can spend mana for any card. They got to keyword this thing, because this is a very long sentence that can shorten this text box in half. So essentially, you put Curse of Hospitality on a player, and then anybody attacking that player can play their cards. Let's get them, boys and girls. Let's play all them cards. Josh, commander of my play other people's cards commander deck. Tasha the Witch Queen. Ah yeah, Tasha. We got another Dimir card for 5 mana, 4 loyalty. Tasha, whenever you cast a spell you don't own, create a 3/3 black demon creature token. +1, draw a card for each opponent, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard and put a page counter on it. -3, you may cast a spell from among cards in exile with page counters on them without paying its mana cost. And this Tasha can be your commander. So many planeswalkers that can be your commander, and they're so broken. Why can't we just play any command? Why is there really anything against us playing any planeswalker as commander? I guess some would break the game, but only some. You can just ban those. It doesn't have to be Oathbreaker. Okay, what do we have next here? Blake Bomba again. Hit That Betrays. What is this card? I know this card. Hit That Betrays. It's the Eldrazi card. That's right. I prophesize correctly. 12 mana for an 11/11 Annihilator 2. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control. So you blow it up, and then all of a sudden it's yours. Your pleas for death shall go unheard. Oh my god, look at everyone with like arrows in their head and stuff. What does that have to do with sacrificing? Do they commit seppuku by like throwing an arrow at themselves? Whatever. King Ginger with Smeagol. Is it really spelled like that? Smeagol. Helpful guide. Yeah, right. As helpful as Goblin Guide. Green black Wonder Dark for a 4/2 halfling horror at the beginning of your end step. Why is he so strong? He's pathetic. He's a pathetic weakling. He can bite people's fingers off, for crying out loud. This is a weird thing when you know a little bit about the lore. I don't think Smeagol's that strong. He can kill other halflings. Big deal. I wonder what's the biggest creature Smeagol killed. Okay, anyway, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals cards on the top of their library until they reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped under your control, and the rest into their graveyard. This is a very underwhelming steal opponent's card. I mean, yeah, it qualifies, but you're taking their lands. He strangles orcs. How big do orcs get, I guess? Okay. You know what? Maybe I'm underestimating. Maybe the ring is more powerful than I thought. If you can beat them orcs, maybe you can beat a lot more than I think. He's all offense, no toughness. Oh, God. Oh, okay, probably we can get one more freebie in here. Let's take one from Stranger Candy. I don't think we got someone from Stranger Candy. Dredge the Mire. Do it. All right, black 3 generic sorcery. Each opponent chooses a creature card in their graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Each opponent? Choose a creature card? So everyone, we all get to choose something. Hold on, each opponent chooses a creature card in their graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your... Oh, no, they choose a card you get. Oh, that's insane. Fortunately, the reanimation spell just missed the long dead colony of dung scorpions. You have to sort of control their graveyard. Make sure that the only thing that they could give you is some big whale. Yeah, choose Phage. I choose Phage. Whoops, well that was a blunder. Does anyone let those blunders go through? Usually, like, in a game of Commander, it's like, okay, I choose Phage. Oh, in that case, well, I don't play Dredge the Mire. You know, those plays never really happen, because once they realize it's a catastrophically bad play, they just take it back immediately. Well, I don't want to play the Dredge Mire anymore. I didn't see you had Phage in your graveyard. Well, your graveyard's all hidden. How do I know you have Phage in your graveyard? You milled it like 10 turns ago. Did we do Brian F asked, did we do Mindslaver yet? How many times have we not done Mindslaver? Do I have anything else left to say about Mindslaver? Mono Blutron favorite. Okay, you can reanimate it with, like, you can bring it back with Larian Academy. Yeah, I got nothing else. Okay, it's a card. We got Praetor's Grasp. Praetor's Grasp. How strong is that grasp? 3 mana sorcery. Search target opponent's library for a card and exile it face down. Then that player shuffles his or her library. You may look at and play that card for as long as it remains exiled. True story. Platonic Liquid. The Fallen Shinobi. Card that a little bit underrated. Like, this is a Modern Horizons card that just hasn't really got any sort of, I don't know, traction. It's a 5 mana 5/4, a pretty beefy creature with ninjutsu of 4, but here's the deal. When it deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top 2 cards of their library. Until end of turn, you may play those cards without paying their mana cost. The thing is, it's hard to get like a good zombie. There's not many of them out there. Also, it's a T1000. If anyone's familiar with Terminator 2 and knows what I'm talking about, because I do know what I'm talking about. Did you mention Goblin Welder on the topic of Mindslaver, as it was the main win condition with it? Oh, maybe back in the day. I'm not familiar with that. By the time I saw Mindslaver seeing any play, it was like the main way of looping it was with Academy runes. I can totally see Goblin Welder working as well, though. Keep sacrificing. Goblin Welder is so cheap to make that work. Knowledge Pool by the Blue Bomber. Knowledge. What's more important than my Lamborghini? The Knowledge Pool. Got all my knowledge here. All right, 6 mana artifact imprint enters the battlefield. Each player exiles the top 3 cards of their library. Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it. If the player does, he or she may cast another non-land card exiled with the Knowledge Pool without paying that card's mana cost. Hold on, everyone else gets to play this card? Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, they exile it. So everyone gets to play everyone's spells. Okay, we have communism in artifact form. It's not your spells, it's our spells. We all get to contribute. We all get to play each other's spells around here. Brian F. Preacher keeps being mentioned. Have you talked about that card yet? No. Brian F. Looking out for the entire community. Preacher! A white 1 generic. Human cleric. 1/1. You may choose not to untap Preacher during your untap step. Tap, gain control of target creature of an opponent's choice that he or she controls as long as Preacher remains tapped. So I guess you just want to use this if they have 1 creature in play, and it's insane. So basically, any choice that they have, it's a bad choice. This is a pretty good card. It's on the reserve list as a result. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Evangelize. I didn't get one from Beanpot today. Inevitable betrayal. The hell is this? Okay, it's a 0 mana suspend 3 card. Search target opponent's library. Oh, for a creature card, put that card into the battlefield under your control. Then that player shuffles. It's bribery. You got bribery over here. It's the bribery for free. Opposition agent. Yep. Okay, we got a black 2 generic 3/2 human rogue with flash. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards as long as they remained exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. I find this is a bit of a confusing card to read. Yeah, you control your opponents while they're searching their library. But then it says, while an opponent is searching their library, they exile a card. But the opponent is you. The person is always you. But they keep saying the opponent. The opponent will never do anything while they're searching their library. Anyway, I find it awkward. Anyway, yes. Opposition agent. It work. Jonathan says, have we done Nope, I don't even know what this card is. Mariaki Barret. That is a hell of a name. Okay, Esper 1/1 human. Mariak Barret doesn't untap during your untap step. Tap, gain control of target creature as long as you control Mariki Barret. When Mariki Barret leaves the battlefield or becomes untapped, destroy that. Destroy? It can't be regenerated? This card's insane. So, I mean, worst case, it's removal. It's just hard removal. And then best case, you just steal their creature. But it doesn't, this thing doesn't, you don't have no choice to untap it. So it's basically a 3 mana on gain control. As long as you can gain control of target creature, as long as you control Mariki Barret. When Mariki leaves player, becomes untapped, destroy that creature. Oh, you can No, but how do you untap it? It doesn't untap during your untap step, so you can force to untap this thing with something. Yeah, that escalated very quickly. A Legends card that does something very serious. So basically, with this card, you want to try to figure out how to untap the Mariki Barret, and then it keeps perpetually blowing up the creature. Yeah, you use other cards to untap it. So, I mean, basically, you swing with the creature for a few turns, untap your Mariki, let the thing get blown up. Oh, that card's insane. This is the magic of this show. You learn about some insanely powerful cards. It's so accurately cost at, like, not, I don't know, accurate. It's like aggressively cost at 3 mana with a bunch of words on it. Seaborn Muse? Oh, I imagine. I can only imagine. Anyway, that's a just bonkers card. All right, what do we have next? Blue Bomber with Tergrid. Sorry, Tegrid. Tegrid, God of Fights. Or sorry, Frights. God of Frights. Oh, we did this one. 5 mana, 4/5. Yeah, whenever an opponent sacks a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. What's the other side do? It's a 4 mana artifact. Target opponent loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. And you can also pay for untap Tergrid's Lantern. That's how it works. Eldraman, thank you very much for your super chat. Realmbreaker. Which one? The Invasion Tree? We've got a lot of Realm Breakers out there. 3 mana. Legendary artifacts. Pay 2, tap. Target opponent mills 3 cards. Put a land card from their graveyard onto the battlefield. Tap under your control. It gains if this land would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. And pay 10, tap, sack this whole thing. Search your library for any number of Praetor cards. Put onto the battlefield. What? Okay, whatever. Helm of Possession. Thanks so much, King Ginger. It's a 4 mana artifact. You may choose not to untap it. Pay 2, tap, sack a creature. Gain control of target creature as long as you control Helm of Possession. Helm of Possession remains tapped. That's a good card. So you steal their creatures, and probably you needed the sack outlet anyway. Always a bigger fish. Soundwave. Sonic Spy. Got them robots again. All right. What's with these weird Transformer cards? 4 mana, 5/4 robot. More than meets the eye. You may cast the card for the converted 5 mana. Whenever one of our creature tokens you control deal combat damage to a player, that's oddly specific, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the damage dealt from their graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. If you do, convert the Soundwave, but I saw enough. Blue Bomber, Stolen Strategy. Swiping it, huh? We got a red 4 generic. Oh, we did this one. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast cards from among those exiled cards. But you gotta spend the mana. You gotta pay up that mana. You don't pay up that mana, you don't get no card. Alright, Platonic Liquid. Nashi. Moon Sage. Moon Scion, sorry. Okay, Moon Sage Scion is basically worse Fallen Shinobi if you are in Dimir, but it does hit every player. Well, I think we can... Let's go on for a little bit longer here. If you are in Dimir, but it does hit every player, including yourself. Okay, how do we go here? It's 3 mana for a Rat Ninja. Gotta love them rats. They make for good pets. It's a 3/2. With Ninjutsu of 4 mana, whenever Nashi Moon's Sage's Scion deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. I love that you can pay life instead. It's a huge plus in my book. I mean, ideally, you don't pay anything. If you're going to pay something, you might as well pay life. Yeah, we're stealing each other's suggestions. That's what's happening around here. People are stealing stuff. All right, hold on. Let's get some freebies around here. You guys seem to be so passionate about this topic. Avatis Totem? Avatis Totem. Avarice Totem? Avarice Totem. 1 mana artifact. Pay 5. Exchange control of Avarice Totem and target non-land permanent. This is an all-around banger. This thing costs nothing. Oh, you can't see the cost. It's 25 cents. Anyone can play this. You just put this out turn 1. And then, I don't know, I guess make everyone sweat. This is an interesting psychological card because no one's going to want to put a non-land permanent into play that you're going to steal from them. Oh, I guess they could steal it back. It's like a hot potato. Or not really, not exactly a hot potato, but like you exchange, you get their card, but they get the Avarice Totem, so they could, like, you know, they could do it back at you. It's a very interesting, unique card. I don't know how many people know about this card. It's an uncommon. Does Dak Faden actually steal stuff? Let's look at Dak. Dak Faden. Fool the Multiverse. Alright, 3 mana, 3 loyalty. Target player draws 2 cards and discards 2 control. Oh yeah, discard 2 cards. Gain control of target Soul Ring. Or Mox Diamond or something. And then it has an emblem for -6. You may cast a spell that targets 1 or more perms. Gain control of those perms. Holy crap! Okay, actually, Dak Faden is the greatest thief of the multiverse. Basically swipes it all away. Penelope! Old Man of the Sea. It's like that other card. What is it? The Preacher. This is just Golem. This is just Golem of the Sea. We've got a Golem of the mountains, the misty mountains, and we have a Golem of the sea. That's the way I'm looking at this. Well, I'm looking at not the flavor of the card, but just this figure, the shriveled up old man killing people over his fish. Oh, it's so wriggly, my precious. Okay, blue, 1 generic for a 2/3. This is a Djinn? What is going on here? Where's the lamp? Okay, you may choose not to untap Old Man of the Sea during your untap step. Tap, gain control of target creature with power less than or equal to Old Man of the Sea's power as long as Old Man of the Sea remains tapped and that creature's power remains less than or equal to Old Man of the Sea's power. Yeah, where's the big fish? What a weird card. What do you target the permanents with to take them take them with Dak? I don't know. Give everything +1/+1 or something. Something to that effect. Rorschach. Sea Singer. And boy, will it sing. Alright, a classic merfolk. Blue, 1 generic. A 0/1 merfolk. When you control no islands, you have to sacrifice your Sea Singer. You may choose not to untap Sea Singer during your untap step. Tap, gain control of target creature whose controller controls an island. As long as you control Sea Singer, and as long as Sea Singer remains tapped. Very, very specific card. Steal only other blue people's cards. Get them blue people. Islarf! Perplexing Chimera. Oh, this is a great one. It's a blue 4 generic 3/3 Chimera. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. If you do, you may choose new targets for the spell. It's a very neat one. This is a very unique card for 5 mana. It's not terrible. I mean, you got a random 3/3 creature. It's good on block. It's okay on blocking duty. It could be worse. It honestly could be a lot worse. Steven. Grishnak? The hell is this guy? Some random goblin soldier that probably died in the background of Lord of the Rings. Alright, red 2 generic for a 1/1. When Grishnak, Brash Instigator, enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 2 when you do, until end of turn. Gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. This is actually probably the best, like, ETB steal your opponent's creature card ever. Because you get, like, 2 creatures. This is actually insane. Why is this so... Okay, am I missing something? This is like a 3-cent card. It's, like, uncommon. And there's the battlefield. You amass Orcs 2. That's great. When you do, until end of turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. But you might have already built up a big orc army. I think stealing. So you may have like 3 creatures. Oh, but you only get it for until end of turn. Okay. Whatever. Got 2 of them from Jumpstart. I think this guy looks good. I could be wrong. Card could be way more broken than I think it is. Alright, more super chats. God, this is gonna be is this gonna be like the first 2-hour Coffee and MTG? Send triplets! Oh, I think we did this one. Yeah, we did this one. The 3/3 at the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player, they can't cast spells or activate abilities and play with their hand revealed. The interesting card, the thing about this card is you just shut your opponent down for that turn. So if you're even concerned about someone interacting with you, just target them. You don't need to play any of the stuff from their deck. Josh. Thada Adele. I think this card's overrated. So when I built a Merfolk Commander deck, everyone's like, you gotta have this card. You gotta have this card. This is like the card. It's broken. I played with it. I thought it was incredibly underwhelming. It's a blue, 1 generic, 2/2, Island Walk. So when it deals combat damage to a player, you get to search the library for an artifact card and exile it. Then they shuffle, and until in turn, I can play that card. So first off, I gotta pay the mana cost. I gotta deal damage to them. And sometimes they don't even have anything particularly great to get. Sometimes you completely brick on them. So this is the card that I was talking about earlier. Like, my friend had no Soul Ring in their deck. I can't remember what I put. I put some random 0-drop card, like, artifact in play, and it was just crap. Sometimes you just completely brick. Oh, no! Corbinek! What was your card? Oh, God, I gotta dig for your... Oh, thank God, it wasn't too far. Okay, so what's your card? Corbinek. Okay, just sending good vibes. Got promoted at work! Oh, congratulations, Corbinek! Moving up in the world! It's always nice to be promoted. It's all good. Congratulations. Steal. I don't know if you stole someone else's job, but someone else, a job was available and you took it. You took target job that was empty. A job position was exiled and you took it. All right, well, let's get to some freebies here. Yeah, let's go, Corbinek. 117Y. Now that is a username. Does that imply you're 117 years old? Memory Plunder. Are you telling me you make up that really older age in my YouTube analytics? What the hell is this? It's got a big giant curse catcher on the cover. All right, it's Demir. Instant. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. Okay, then. Vengeance is the echo of the victim's own crime. You got it. Crazy card. Crazy art! I'm scared just looking at this thing. Corbinek likes it. Okay, more super chats. We got Rorschach is back. I might, you know, this show's going on so late that I might be hitting like another group of people that is hitting their lunch break. Okay, Rorschach, 6 mana artifact, comes into play, tap, pay 4, tap, remove bronze tablet and target a card opponent owns from the game. You become owner of opponent. You become the owner of opponent's card, and opponent becomes owner of bronze tablet. I had to check. Yeah, this is mega banned all over the place. This is more than just playing their cards. This is, you're taking it from them. Opponent may prevent this exchange by paying 10 life. That's broken. If he or she does so, destroy bronze tablet. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. Play this ability as an interrupt. Remove bronze tablet from your deck before playing, if not playing for ante. Gotta throw in those, the fine print at the end of that commercial. What's the Prince of Thralls? You people are trying to... Prince of Thralls. Prince of Thralls. Is this the Prince of stealing stuff? Holy moly, it's 8 mana. 7/7 Demon. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls is put into a graveyard, put that card into play under your control unless that player pays 3 life. So basically... So you can't force them to do it. You basically have to pay 3 life every single time something like that would happen. Put them in a position where they have no life to pay. Can you trade that for your Black Lotus? Oh, you have to pay that 10 life. That is awkward. You know what you could do? You could resign the... You know, I was just thinking with Bronze Tablet, you could just... If they activate it, you could just resign the game with it on the stack. It's like, no, F you. You're not taking my cards, you jerk. I mean, yeah. Oh, but then I guess... The thing is, back then you played for ante, so then you would just immediately lose the ante. But it would be worth it if there's like a basic land on for ante or whatever. Anyway, wild card. Vic the Foxy Gamer. Possibility Storm. 5 mana enchantment. Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it. Then exiles cards on the top of his or her library until he or she exiles a card that shares a card type with it. That player may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then he or she puts all cards exiled with Possibility Storm on the bottom of his or her library in a random order. Does it play your opponent's cards? Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her library, they exile it, then exiles cards on the top of... This is just playing your own spells. Disqualified. Absolutely disqualified. Okay, Brian F. Thanks so much for being here all day. Wasn't expecting a Fallen Empires card, but then boom. There was Sea Singer. Yeah, there was Sea Singer. Or you just making mention of the Sea Singer card that we saw? Share the spoils. I'm convinced that like King Ginger is either can be part of the show while at work, or doesn't work at this time of the day. 2 mana. When Share the Spoils enters the battlefield or an opponent loses the game, exile the top card of each player's library. During each player's turn, that player may play a land or cast a spell from among cards exiled with Share the Spoils, and they may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast the spell. When they do, exile the top card of their library. I said this before, and I'll say it again. This card would make more sense if you just got to play the player who just lost. You just divide their deck up, or like only exile cards from their library, and you get to play those cards for as long as the game goes on. It'd be really suck though if they need to like pack it up and go home though. Massive suck. Josh. Drogger. Necromancer. Alright, well. Necromancer. There we go. This guy looks like he's pretending to be a big, all-powerful sorcerer. Alright, we got 4 mana, 4/4. That's pretty big for a zombie cleric. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile that card with an ice counter on it. You may cast spells from among cards in your... You may cast spells from among cards in exile your opponent's own with ice counters on them, and you may spend mana from snow sources as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. What a bizarre card. It do work, though. Platonic Liquid! +1 Abso suggestion to round off the ninjas. Oh god, what was it? What was Abso's suggestion? The ninjas. Abso, what are you up to? I'm gonna look up Abso. Abso could be gone for all I know. Where'd Abso? You can +1 Abso, but you gotta tell me what that card is. Now I'm digging through the graveyard of the chat. The Nihilure? Nihilure. Is it a ninja? To round off the ninjas. This is not ninja. This card don't ninja to me. Silent Blade Oni. This has got to be a ninja. Ninjas are silent. There we go. Okay. Black, blue, 3 generic for a 6/5 demon ninja. With ninjutsu of 6 mana, that's pretty expensive for a ninjutsu card, in my opinion. Whenever Silent Blade Oni deals combat damage to a player, look at that player's hand. You may cast a spell from among those cards without paying its mana cost. Personally, I would just rather draw a random card, but yeah, sure. Okay, that works too. Oh, you get to cast it without paying its mana cost. All right, that works. That works out. It works for me. What time is it in your country right now? Just curious. It is 12:18. I do this at... I tell you, I do this at 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. The time zones in Canada span far and wide. We got like a million time zones around here. It's a big country. Mnemonic Betrayal. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, black, blue, 1 generic, sorcery. Exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. Hold on. You may cast those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast those spells. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, return them to their owner's graveyards. So you got to use it right now and then. Right then and there. You have 1 shot. You don't blow it. Don't blow it. Demonic Attorney. The hell? Okay, Demonic Attorney. I'm running out of super chat sound effects for all of you. Black, 1 generic. If an opponent doesn't concede... It's another one of these stupid cards. If the opponent doesn't concede immediately, each player must ante an additional card from the top of his or her library. If opponent... So on... Let's look at the original text. It sounds like you target 1 player in a multiplayer game, and if they don't concede, then everyone has to ante more stuff. Remove demonic tourney, whatever. Each player antes the top card of their library. Oh, that's not how this is. Looks like it's worded. Okay, if opponent doesn't concede the game immediately, each player must ante an additional card from the top of his or her library. Remove this card from your deck before playing if you are not playing for ante. Oh, I get it. So basically, you have the option, if it is a multiplayer game, you have the option to just concede and not ante more cards. Who still plays with ante? I imagine there's got to be some weirdos out there that still do this. Tommy with Commandeer. Let's look at Commandeer. I love that card. I wish I could hit creatures, though. Blue, blue, 5 generic. Instant. I can remove 2 blue cards in my hand from the game rather than pay this damn spell's mana cost. Gain control of target non-creature spell. You may choose new targets for it. I just gained control of it. Like it was on the stack. Your Planeswalker is now mine. Your Blatant Thievery is now mine. Everything is now mine. Platonic Liquid, huge gambler. Love ante, it's so wild. Oh god, that's such a... That's what made the most fights on the playground at school. That's why you don't want to associate gambling with them kids. Teachers hate it. The last thing they need to hear is that Billy took Bob's card. Now Bob is crying. Rubber Soul Man, and then I stormed to steal the remaining of your deck. Ante was faced... Oh, was it? So you didn't know? You didn't know to the end? Oh, God. That makes it even more random. I didn't play during that time. I have no idea. Sean McCartney! You're learning how to do them super chats. What the hell was your suggestion? I go look. Okay, here you are. I found you. Now, what was your... Do you have anything to say? I see nothing. You just wanted to give me a super chat, Sean? I mean, I appreciate it. I have no problem. You could have had a card suggestion, though. Alright, I take your super chat. Thank you so much. Rorschach, thank you so much. You're doing great here. Donate the card. Make your opponent play with your card. Well, this is not really that type of show. Make your opponent play with your card. Change perspective. Your opponent is now playing with their opponent's card. It is true. Blue 2 generic. Target player gains control of target perm you control. But the show is called Cards That Let You Play With Your Opponent's Cards. I mean, yes, in a weird way. I think we've had shows where it's all about giving your opponents your stuff. Donate falls closer to that direction. But thanks for the suggestion. Redco. Hostage Taker. Hostage Taker. Bit late today. I'm not late. I don't know. You guys seem to love this. Absolutely love this topic. Hostage Taker, underrated card. 4 mana, 2/3 human pirate. Enters the battlefield. Exile another target creature or artifact until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. That's broken. Like, that's a huge tempo swing. Maybe not so much in multiplayer, but in one-on-one, that is just a beating. I've lost a Hostage Taker many times. You can cast, and then you can cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. You can spend mana's lower mana of any color to cast a spell, and you can do it whenever. You don't have to do it that turn. You can do it next turn, and then they have no chance of getting the card back. The card is just wildly broken. Rorschach back again. I played with Andy. Yes, face down. So that makes it so much harder to decide if you want to concede the game or not. Oh my god, the feels when you demonic tutor and find out what your card... Oh yeah! So basically, by today's standards, using fetch lands would be like sort of broken because you would know exactly what what's being anteed away. So any tutor basically lets you know. Wow, the game back then. Interesting. Thanks for the insight, Rorschach. Brian F. What do I give you here for a super chat? I asked the staff at my local game store if I could play for ante. Oh god. To abuse contract from below, but they said I can't do that because it's considered gambling. Exactly. Where's the gambling sound effect? No gambling around here. Local game store, the last thing I want to do is to be associated with gambling. Like, Wizards gives them a hard look, you know, like, don't you dare. Don't be associated with slot machines or anything like that, all right? Get that out of your brain. Ryan with Agadim Cultist. Oh, we got a black 2 generic human shaman ally. 0/2. Tap. Put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard on the battlefield under your control. If its converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of allies. It's a good thing for the ally deck. Little swipey Rooney from allies. Alex! With the $1. And you have a suggestion. Nasari. You can tell you're a first-time super chatter when you don't give the suggestion with the super chat, but I appreciate it. All right, Nasari Dean. No, hold on. This is... Where's Nasari? Oh, Nasari Dean of Perfection is underneath. All right, red 3 generic for a 4/4 Efreet Shaman. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library until end of turn. You may cast those spells among them exiled, and you may spend mana. I don't care. You can spend mana. Whatever mana you want. I feel like I'm a broken record reading this over and over again. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a counter on Nasari. Love the pose. Isn't it ironic since Wizards made the anti-cards in the first place? Double standards, Wizards. Yeah, well, it was a different company back then. Different management, all right? Different R&D. Rorschach says, I post a lot in the YouTube comments, especially on 94, since I played so much of it. First time able to catch the live stream. What, so will you still play 94 with the anti? I would never do that. I would feel so bad to lose, like, an expensive card. It's like, the risk is so high, the reward is so low. Like, I wouldn't even feel good about taking anybody's cards under those circumstances. Yeah, how long before spend any mana as a color is keyworded? I don't know. It's getting close. If anything, it should be just called any mana. That's the keyword in my opinion. Josh! Shelub. Does this count? Whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature except it's a food artifact with... No, you're making a copy of it, and you don't control the card. This is the right Shelub, right? Yeah, this is disqualified. It's not the same. You're making a copy of it. It's a food artifact. Doesn't even feel like you're playing with the card. You gotta play with their card. In some form or another. Kevin! Welcome, Kevin. What am I going to give you for a super chat? I'll give you... Pokemon. Ink Eyes. Sounds like a... Is it an octopus? Servant of Oni. It is not an octopus. I guess ink is bleeding from their eyes or something. All right, we got black 4 generic 5/4 rat ninja with another huge ninjutsu. These are expensive ninjutsu creatures. Wizards of the Coast would bring back anti. Oh god, that's the fastest way for this whole TCG thing to get re-regulated all again. Anyway, Ink Eyes deals combat damage to a player. You may put target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control permanently. You can regenerate Ink Eyes. Do it over and over again. This card's busted. It's a bit expensive, but I mean, the effect is insane. And it has ninjutsu, so basically, so you just send in a creature that doesn't get blocked, and you're definitely going to take something from them. Platinum! Hey, Nikachu, first time catching a stream. Been catching up on the AI cards. Oh, you're welcome. I have millions of those AI streams. Sponge! Sponge Head. Bone Dancer. We got a black 1 generic for a 2/2 zombie. Pay 0. Put the top creature card of defending player's graveyard. The top card. So we have to arrange the graveyards appropriately into play under your control. Bone Dancer deals no combat damage this turn. It uses the ability only if Bone Dancer is attacking and unblocked and only once each turn. Imagine having to tell your play group, all right, everyone, you cannot rearrange your graveyards. It's very important. I've got a card in my deck that does, you know, it's important to know what's on top, what's on the bottom. Rorschach says, Richard Garfield's OG Vision. Lose and win cards via ante. Oh, God. Yeah, that's another way to amass a collection. Play with 40-card decks with no card limit. Throw cards across the room. Chaos Orb, Falling Star. Make cards hard to play with. Did he just not understand, like, how feel bad it is to lose cards that you bought? I guess there was no secondary market, though. So I guess in his mind, like, you know, cards didn't really have any value at that time. And then play a card that shuffles my grave. Yeah. True story. We got Redco here. Rogue class. Has won me many games. Black, blue. One of those enchantment class cards. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library face down. You can look at it for as long as it remains exiled. Also, your creatures have menace at level 2, and at level 3, you can play the exiled cards with Rogue class, and you may spend whatever mana on it. Yo, little Ted. Gilt Leaf Archdruid. This card lets you play other people's cards? I feel like this is an elf card, isn't it? This is like the only green card in today's list. Green, 3 generic for a 3/3. You may play, whenever you play a druid spell, you may draw a card. Tap 7 untapped druids you control. Gain control of all lands target player controls. That'll do it. Yeah, one-sided Armageddon. That sucks for them. Wait, does the graveyard has no order now? No, technically it always had an order. It has an order. There are some cards where it's like you have to choose the top card of that library and you get it or whatever. So, but like practically speaking, they don't make cards like that anymore, so it's just not relevant. But normally, but technically speaking, the graveyard has an order as things go into it. I can't remember what it is though. I think someone said in chat, like, as cards are put into play, those cards get priority to going into the graveyard first. Yeah, I know, this card is danger. It's super danger. You gotta have the 7 druids, though. Forget the 7 dwarves. 7 druids are where it's at. You know what? People have been saying this all day. Oko. Oko, Thief of Crowns. So for everyone who mentioned Oko today, here you go. -5. Exchange control of target artifact or creature you control. And target creature and opponent controls with power 3 or less. The one ability that was almost never played. Does anyone even play that ability in Commander? The other abilities are so much more useful. Always played Tier 1 Vintage, so it's news to me. Really? You didn't know the Grave... I mean, there's not that many cards that are competitive where it's so important to have the top card, like, come into play. But, like, such cards do exist. Alright. Redco with another Ashiok. So many Ashioks. Nightmare Muse. Hey, playing against them. Did we do this? No, we didn't do this one. So, black, blue, 3 generic, 5 loyalty. Where's the important one? You may cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponents own from exile without paying their mana cost. Actually, I think every Ashiok basically lets you play their cards. Like, even the OG Ashiok. And we have +1 created. Does this one, like, 2/3 blue, Nightmare... You get a 2/3 creature. Whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of the library. Yeah, and then you can cast the 3 face-up cards. They own an exile without paying their mana costs. Eldraman, Piper of the Swarm. Did we just like build a commander deck today? This is basically going through all these cards. Some sort of Dimir. I guess this is a Grixis type of control deck. Black, 1 generic, 1/3 human warlock. Rats you control have menace. Black, 1 generic, tap. Create a 1/1 black rat creature token and also pay 4 mana. Tap. Sacrifice 3 rats, gain control of target creature. That work. It do work. Well, he is a thief. He is a... Oh, the Sower! I love this card. Looking up the Sower. Sower of Temptation. This problem with this card sort of sucks. It's like a bad, it's a bad version of that pirate that we looked at earlier. So it's a blue, 2 generic, 2/2. Or maybe it's not a bad version. No, it is worse. Flying, it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as Sword of Temptation remains on the battlefield. And that's the problem. It's just so vulnerable. It's just a pathetic 2/2, like a 2 toughness creature. It just dies to anything. So you never keep the creature. I love this card, but just practically speaking, super hard to use. It's good in some of the control deck, or it's good versus combo decks that depend on putting a big fatty in play, and then they just don't have any removal for this. But outside of that, I would love a type of card like this just deal with other regular creature decks. Corbinek says, we are making mine commander deck. Yeah. We're making somebody's commander deck. Do you cover Blatant Thievery? Maybe very early, but not in detail. Not in detail. Blue, 4 generic. For each opponent, gain control of target permanent that player controls. So the more players at the table, the more powerful this card gets. So if you're playing in a 5, 6, 7, 8 player commander game, Blatant Thievery becomes a house, because all of a sudden just taking one random thing, it's not even random, but you take one thing from each player and you've amassed an entire board presence. Alright, what do we have? Platonic Liquid. Shieldred. From Mom is really fun to make work. Which one? Not this one. This one? Which Shieldred is this? Because this one does not take... It's the only one I know about. Mother of Machines? Help me out here. Which one of these things steal cards? This one? This is an old card, though. Just Shieldred? It's just... There's a card called Shieldred with no... Oh, here we go. Truth be told, there is a card that's literally just called Shieldred. Alright. Black, 3 generic for a 4/5. Phyrexian Praetor with Menace. Enters the battlefield. Each opponent sacks a non-token creature where you sack something. Non-token creature or planeswalker. Black, 4 generic, exile it, then return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. And only if an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Weird clause, but okay. The True Scriptures. For each opponent, Chapter 1. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls. Chapter 2. Each opponent discards 3 cards, then mills 3 cards. And then Chapter 3. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Of course, you gotta exile this thing. It don't come back. This chat Zybers. Yeah, the chat is very active today. That's why we've gone for so long. This is gonna be a 2-hour episode. I could tell that you guys just absolutely in love with this this topic. Ryan F. This huge... What is this? What is your deck? 4 Dark Ritual. 4 Hymn to Turok. 4 Hypnotic Spectre. 4 Demonic Tutor. 4 Demonic Attorney. 4 Bone Dancer. 4 Chaos Orb. 4 Phyrexian Arena. 4 Drain Life. 4 Moxjet. 4 Lotus. Fetch lands at swamps. Bring to Vegas Profit. But can that win? Can that win on turn 0? Because there's a lot of turn 1 decks. And I can't imagine this is one of them. But maybe? Is this a 93-94 deck? Oh, it's a 93-94 deck because you only play with like 1 Moxjet, 1 Lotus. Gotcha. You know, I would look at 93-94. I don't see a deck that speaks to me in that format. Also, I don't really want to buy a Black Lotus, to be honest. Not what I'm looking for. Hey, Michael. Welcome. We got Christopher B. Exchange of Words. What is this? Oh, that's one of these funsy cards. Blue, 1 generic. When Exchange of Words enters the battlefield, choose 2 target creatures. For as long as Exchange of Words remains on the battlefield, exchange the text box of those creatures. I'm gonna disqualify this one. It's a close one. I see what you're doing here, but you're not literally playing with their card. But you sorta are? You get the text box. This is bizarre. It's legal as well. That is bizarre. We should just have we should have a show, the weirdest cards that are actually legal. That are real Magic cards. Oh my god, these super chats never let me stop. Alright, we got Stetson here. Robber of the rich. That annoying little creature. Yeah, it has haste. Okay, it's a 2-mana 2/2. Why does that have reach? I guess it's Mission Impossible style. Whatever. Whenever Robber of the Rich attacks, if defending player has more cards in hand than you, exile the top card of their library. During your turn, you attacked with a rogue. You may cast that card, and you may spend mana's lower mana of any color to cast that damn spell. Death! Happy to catch you live. Take my coffee. I don't need your coffee. I got my own coffee, but thank you very much for paying for one. I appreciate it. King Ginger. Arvinox, the Mind Flail. And flail at will. The hell is this card? Alright, we got a black, 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 4 generic, legendary enchantment. Legendary enchantment creature horror. It's a 9/9 creature. Okay, if it isn't a okay, Arvinox the Mind Flail isn't a creature unless you control 3 or more permanents you don't own. So you want to take your opponent's stuff. At the beginning of your end step, exile the bottom card of each opponent's library face down. For as long as those cards remained exiled, you may look at them. You may cast permanent spells from among them, and you may spend mana as though or mana of any color to cast those spells. A little bit of a rolling the dice over there. Oh, we got Joel here with Xanathar. Forget the full name. We did Xanathar. I'm pretty sure we did Xanathar. Diego! Breach the Multiverse. We didn't do that one. Alright, Diego. We got black, black, 5 generic. And we're gonna breach that multiverse. Who's here? Is this your shield red or something? Sorcery. Each player mills 10 cards for each player. Choose a creature or planeswalker card in that player's graveyard. Put them onto the battlefield under your control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. All worlds will know perfection, says Elish Norn. Yeah, including Jace. Wonder how perfect he felt for a second. Trip! I looked it up. It looks like abilities equals text box in a normal game, but not quite the same in a game with that unset because flavor text and watermarks matter. Interesting. Next up we have Brian F. I forgot Contract from Below. I think we did we do this one? Does this count? Hold on. Discard your current hand and draw 8 new cards, adding the first drawn to your ante. Remove this card from your deck before playing for ante if you're not playing for ante. But this doesn't let you play any of your opponent's cards this game. You're basically just discarding cards and drawing new ones. Just because you're going to own someone else's card with the ante doesn't mean you played with it this game. That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe one day we look at all the supremely illegal cards in Magic the Gathering. Kira bests the Sea God is scary. Is that a real card? Bests the Sea God. Who is Kira challenging? Oh, Kira and Thassa. Blue, blue, 5 generic. Create an 8/8 blue Kraken creature token with hexproof. Oh my, what the hell? That thing's wild. But it's like 7 mana, so whatever. Pay 2, tap all non-land permanents target opponent controls. They don't untap during their controller's next untap step. And then, Chapter 3, gain control of target a permanent an opponent controls. Untap it. That's honestly a really underwhelming Chapter 3. For all the first 2 things that it did, and for 7 mana. A little watered down, a little weak, in my opinion. Let's finish it off with I Am No One Specimens. Which one? I guess Gather Specimens. 6 mana, instant. If a creature would come into play under an opponent's control this turn, it comes into play under your control instead. 6 mana, Swipe-a-rooney. It's mine now. And okay, I think that's it. Whoops, wrong song. Oh, we have another super chat. You gotta be kidding me. Sean McCartney, what do you got? What do you got for me, Sean McCartney? Okay, apparently we're not done yet. Let's go. This show ends when the super chats end. Or wait, I don't. Sean McCart, did you like try to say something? I think you made the super chat last time and gave me nothing. Just give me random super chats for the. On this show, you're allowed. You know, when you give a donation, you're allowed to mention a card. You know, that's the whole point of the show. You're part of the show. You get to be part of it. Joker cap. Joker cap. Is it Jester's cap? Is it Joker cap or Jester's cap? I think it's Jester's cap. 4 mana artifact. Pay 2 taps. Sack it. Search target player's library for 3 cards and remove them from the game. Then that player shuffles his or her library. Okay, I'm done. If you give me more super chats, I'm eating them. All right, as usual, if you want to be part of the show, you got to be here Monday to Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thanks for all the support. I'm only here almost 2 hours because you guys were so passionate about this particular topic. I couldn't end it after 1 hour. I could see you guys were like really hungry to give all your suggestions. So thanks to everyone who's a patron, a supporter on YouTube, and also people who super chat to support the channel. But most importantly, thanks everyone who shows up to be part of the show. People like Steve, Balder, Monster CC, Dem, Pacers fan forever, always a bigger fish, Corbinic, Platonic Liquid, Steven, Christopher B, Corbinic, Redco, Sean, Rorschach, Ryan, Steven, Trip. Because without all you guys, I'd have no show. I'm not coming up with all these cards. I can come up with like 1 or 2, and that's about it. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we will keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.